This topic hits close to home for our family, as I'm sure it does for many of you watching. My mother-in-law has been battling the cancer multiple myeloma for the past 9 years. It's been tough to watch her go through it, but we're still blessed to have her with us. We love you, Mom. This one's for you. 1 in every 5 deaths in America is because of cancer. Cancer is an epidemic that kills over 500,000 people in the U.S. every year. Over 21 million people are currently diagnosed. 1.5 million new cases are diagnosed each year. It's estimated that that number will go up to 2 million by year 2020. Are you ready to learn more? We're going to look at these benefits in a progression type manner, starting with one of the main causes of cancer. Number 1, H2 can potentially reduce oxidative stress. We'll start by looking at this study about the role of ROS in cancer. ROS is well known to be toxic to our cells and is highly considered as a cause of a wide range of human diseases, including cancer. It is now assumed that ROS is involved in both the initiation and progression of cancer. Understanding the role of ROS may provide various opportunities for pharmacological interventions. Persistent oxidative stress is widely accepted as one of the causes for most lifestyle-related diseases, cancer, and the aging process. ROS has been noted to play important roles in the main jobs of cancer cells, such as invasion, spread, and chemoresistance. So basically, excessive ROS can not only lead to cancer, but it also assists cancer cells in what they need to do to survive. Many cancer cells have been even shown to produce large amounts of ROS. To quote this study, it is known that human tumor cells produce reactive oxygen species more abundantly than non-transformed cell lines. And elevated oxidative stress levels have been found in many different types of cancer cells. Evidence suggests that ROS are related to diverse abilities of cancer cells: increased cell proliferation, DNA synthesis, cellular migration, invasion, tumor metastasis, and angiogenesis. This study plainly states that oxidative stress is involved in cancer development. It goes on to state that H2 exhibits anti-inflammatory and potentially anti-cancer-like activities. So it's pretty clear by the evidence that ROS and oxidative stress can play a large role in the development and progression of cancer. In the last decade, many studies have shown that hydrogen gas or hydrogen water can reduce levels of ROS in the living body. Here we see that hydrogen-rich water exhibits ROS scavenging effects. It was reported here that hydrogen inhibits ROS and oxidative stress-induced damage. And here we see that hydrogen functions as an extensive protector against oxidative stress. H2 is a therapeutic agent for tumors because it could scavenge free radicals, which is one of the causes of this disease in the human body. And finally, here we see that hydrogen water is expected to reduce oxidative stress of cancer cells and exert anti-cancer effects because features specific for cancer cells like increased cell proliferation, DNA synthesis, survival, cellular migration, invasion, tumor metastasis, and angiogenesis were closely related to ROS. Number 2, hydrogen may help protect DNA. To build on the last point, let's revisit this study, where it says that oxidative damage to cellular DNA can lead to mutation and may therefore play an important role in the initiation and progression of multi-stage carcinogenesis. Damage to DNA by ROS is widely accepted as a major cause of cancer. DNA damage, mutation, and altered gene expression are all required participants in the process of carcinogenesis. ROS can cause oxidative DNA and protein damage, damage to tumor suppressant genes, and enhanced expressions of proto-oncogenes. Oxidative stress has been shown to induce malignant transformation of cells in culture. One of the great things about H2 is that it's so small, it's able to penetrate through biomembranes and diffuse through barriers into cellular components. Hydrogen can also diffuse into the cytosol, mitochondria, and nuclei, thereby protecting nuclear DNA and mitochondria, suggesting that it could reduce the risk of lifestyle-related diseases and cancer. Here it agrees that H2 is able to protect DNA from oxidative damage. The antioxidant ability of H2 has been associated with several protective functions against oxidative damage, including DNA and mitochondrial damage. Here they found that ROS levels inside the cell were markedly decreased by hydrogen water. But to close out this section about DNA protection, I just got to read this excerpt from the study. Excessive oxidative damage is a major factor because the mitochondrial respiratory chain is a significant source of damaging ROS. However, despite the clinical importance of mitochondrial oxidative damage, antioxidants have been of limited therapeutic success. This may be because antioxidants are not selectively taken up by the mitochondria. As H2 effectively reaches the nucleus and mitochondria, the production of nuclear DNA and mitochondrial suggests protective effects on lifestyle-related diseases, cancer, and the aging process. Moreover, H2 passes through the blood-brain barrier, although most antioxidant compounds cannot. This is also an advantage of H2. Very interesting if you ask me. Okay, take a breath. The next point is much shorter, but still awesome. Number 3, hydrogen may aid in suppressing somatic mutations. Somatic mutations are genetic alterations that affect all cells descended from the mutated cell. These mutations are often caused by environmental factors, such as ultraviolet radiation exposure and to certain chemicals. They can give rise to various diseases, including cancer. Here we read that the elimination of ROS by hydrogen should reduce the probability of introducing somatic mutations. Here it says that hydrogen is likely to have a beneficial effect on cancer development by suppressing somatic mutations. Number 4, hydrogen can potentially suppress cancer cell growth. Here we see that hydrogen water can suppress tumor angiogenesis by scavenging intracellular ROS. Angiogenesis is just a fancy word for the development of new blood vessels. In the case of tumor angiogenesis, the new blood vessels are used to feed the tumor and to help it grow. It goes on to say that H2 water suppresses the growth of cancer cells and microorganisms. Here it says that hydrogen water had an effect on inhibiting tumor growth as a result of its ability to reduce oxidation products. Here's a study on human tongue cancer cells. It mentions, in addition to the inhibitory effects of hydrogen water on colony formation of cancer cells, which happens immediately after the formation of a single cancer or mutated cell. Hydrogen water also demonstrated to inhibit massive growth of a cancer cell population, which correlates to an early stage of cancer progression. The findings suggest that H2 water can scavenge ROS and maintain antioxidant potential both inside the cell and outside the cell, which was suggested to be responsible for its preventative effects on cancer colony formation. Even though hydrogen inhibited the growth of cancer cells, it did not compromise the growth of normal cells. The study concluded by saying that hydrogen water was shown to achieve tumor preferential growth inhibition and tumor invasion together with scavenging of intracellular oxidants, and is expected as a preventative material against tumor progression and invasion. Another way hydrogen can suppress cancer cell growth is by suppressing VEGF. VEGF is a key mediator for angiogenesis and has been an appealing target for anti-cancer therapeutics. VEGF is often found overexpressed in tumors. To quote this study, tumor blood vessels formed under the influence of VEGF are disorganized, tortuous, and leaky with high interstitial pressure, reducing access to chemotherapies. Inhibiting VEGF will reduce the vessel abnormality and increase the permeability of the tumor to chemotherapies. Targeting VEGF has been shown to block angiogenic activity, resulting in tumor regression, anti-tumor effects, and improvements in patient survival. According to this, you guessed it, H2 is able to suppress the gene expression and secretion of VEGF. We also see here where it says H2 downregulated VEGF gene transcription, as well as here it says that H2 downregulated the expression of VEGF. This study states that the anti-VEGF property should be considered as another functional factor for hydrogen-induced protection. Number 5, hydrogen can potentially induce cancer cell death. So what's better than stopping cancer from growing? Actually killing the cancer cells that are already there. Before we start, a little vocabulary lesson. Apoptosis is a term referring to cell death. You'll be seeing that word often in this topic, and I want you to know what it means. So here we go with this study that says it was confirmed that H2 has an effect of inducing and enhancing cancer cell apoptosis. The data here suggests that hydrogen water was able to produce apoptosis and enhance anti-cancer activity. And here we see that H2 was able to induce apoptosis in human leukemia cells. It's also interesting that we see that in this study, hydrogen water was able to reduce neuron apoptosis. And here it decreased apoptosis in the kidney. So let me get this straight. H2 enhanced cancer cell death, but reduced healthy cell death? Well, according to this study, H2 can exert cytotoxic effects to tumor cells, differentially over normal cells. Another way H2 can aid in cancer cell death process is by something called telomeres. Telomeres are essentially the end caps of DNA that help to protect them and allow them to do their job. Here it talks about how short the telomeres can eventually lead to cell death. Likewise, tumor cells with stronger or weaker telomeres can be killed easier than cells with stronger telomeres. Most cancer cells have high telomerase activity, with no telomere shortening, which guarantees the immortality of the cells. However, hydrogen water was found to actually cause telomere shortening in cancer cells in this study. Okay, one last thing about killing cancer cells. This is a rare study that was done in 1975 and used hyperbaric hydrogen on mice with skin tumors. Here it says, after a first 10-day period to exposure of the mice to 97% hydrogen therapy, it was found that the tumors had turned black, that some have dropped off, that some seemed to have shrunk at their base and was in the process of being pinched off, and that the mice appeared to suffer no damaging consequences. The study goes on to say that the same mice were kept for a second period of a 6-day treatment, and continual remission of the multiple squamous cell carcinoma was observed. The study concludes the possibility that hyperbaric hydrogen therapy might also prove to be of significance to treatments of other types of cancer. Now, obviously, none of us are mice, and our access to hyperbaric hydrogen therapy is most definitely limited. But nevertheless, it is a very promising study and lends to the possibility of more exciting research. Number 6, hydrogen may be able to suppress the spread of cancer. The ability to invade tissue and to establish secondary tumors in remote sites is called metastasis. Metastasis is a characteristic of malignant tumor cells and the main cause of most cancer-related deaths in humans. ROS is even involved in the metastatic processes, including invasion of cancer cells into the surrounding primary tumor site. Here it says that H2 may be a potential therapeutic agent in cancer prevention and inhibition of metastasis through its anti-ROS effect. Another factor in the spread of cancer seems to be indicated by MMP gene. MMPs are involved in many normal processes in the body. However, several studies have reported the upregulation of MMPs in the course of various malignancies, including breast, colon, pancreatic, and liver cancer. This study reported that patients with breast cancer had higher concentrations of MMPs than healthy volunteers. MMPs have been extensively studied as a possible tumor marker and predictive factor of metastasis in breast cancer patients. Their increased expression in the primary tumor has been associated with aggressive disease and unfavorable outcome. Well, according to this, the gene expression of MMPs was restoratively downregulated by H2. According to this, a large amount of ROS at the tumor site has been shown to activate MMPs. When treated with H2, the gene expression and activation of specific MMPs were repressed, which suggests that the inhibitory effects of hydrogen on tumor invasion is due to, at least in part, its antioxidant effect. Because of this, hydrogen water is expected to be effective against metastasis or cancer progression. Number 7, hydrogen can potentially aid in the effectiveness and protection of anti-cancer drugs. So what if you're watching this and you or someone you know is already in the thick of it? I want to tell you that there is hope and there may be relief here. With that being said, let's look at some more research. Anti-tumor agents are mostly cytotoxic drugs, which inevitably lead to damage of normal cells and organs, or cause adverse reactions when killing cancer cells. This chemotherapy drug side effects is suggested to be based on increased levels of ROS. With this drug, the main side effects is the formation of free radicals in normal cells. It's been reported that about 40% of the patients taking this treatment suffered from liver injury. It's still a challenge to find favorable treatments for the prevention of toxicity and interventions after toxicity develops. A quote from this study says, hydrogen has emerged as a promising cancer remedy as a preventative agent or in combined therapy with anti-cancer drugs. Hydrogen water consumption might mitigate the side effects of anti-cancer drugs by decreasing oxidative stress. Hydrogen efficiently mitigates the side effects of this chemo by the reduction of oxidative stress. Here, hydrogen water appeared to alleviate the chemo-related liver injury. The beneficial effects of H2 can be used to attenuate injuries of various organs, caused by elevated levels of ROS and oxidative stress. We see hydrogen improve long-lasting improvement of the function of the kidneys and other organs by attenuating oxidative stress. Hydrogen improved mortality, cardiac dysfunction, and the histopathological changes caused by this chemotherapy drug. The results revealed a protective effect of H2 on chemo-related damage to the heart and liver through inhibiting inflammation and apoptosis. Due to its safety, efficacy, and convenience, hydrogen should be considered as a potential therapy for organ injury caused by chemotherapy. But wait, there's more. Despite hydrogen's protective effect against chemo, it did not impair anti-tumor activity of the drug against the cancer. It's pretty awesome given that high-dose antioxidants can often cause other side effects, and they can even interfere with anti-tumor effects of chemotherapy. Hydrogen water may even be able to enhance the therapeutic effects of anti-cancer drugs. Number 8, hydrogen may be able to protect the body from radiation therapy. Radiotherapy is one of the major treatment options for malignant tumors. Nearly half of all newly diagnosed cancer patients will receive radiotherapy at some point in their treatment, and up to 25% may receive radiotherapy a second time. While it destroys malignant cells, it also adversely affects the surrounding normal cells. Side effects include fatigue, nausea, diarrhea, dry mouth, loss of appetite, hair loss, sore skin, and depression. These symptoms are believed to be due from the increased oxidative stress and inflammation from the generation of ROS during radiation. Increased ROS is associated with radiotherapy as well as damage to DNA, lipids, and protein. Radiation itself can induce many types of cancer, especially leukemia and lymphoma. The success of radiotherapy is limited by the toxicity in normal tissue. However, even with all the side effects, few simple protective methods have been found. Here they found out that H2 was able to protect from radiation-induced thymic lymphoma. It was reported that H2 could reduce radiation-induced free radical damage to DNA. The H2 treatment here reduced acute damage and late damage from radiation. Here we see that hydrogen protected the gastrointestinal tract from radiation-induced injury. Hydrogen water may be used as a potential therapeutic agent to alleviate intestinal injury from radiotherapy. Radiation may also cause detrimental effects to the skin. To quote this study, radiation injures skin directly by radiation energy or indirectly by free radicals, causing radiodermatitis, which occurs in nearly 95% of patients receiving radiation therapy. The results were hydrogen significantly reduced the severity of dermatitis caused by radiation. Radiation can also cause harm to the immune system by causing depletion of immunocytes in tissue and blood. The results of the study was that H2 rescued the radiation-caused depletion of white blood cells and platelets. This study agrees that hydrogen can relieve the damage caused by radiation to the immune system. Just like chemo, high doses of antioxidants may compromise the efficacy of radiation treatment and increase the risk of local recurrence of cancer. But drinking hydrogen water did not compromise the anti-tumor effects of radiotherapy. So let's sum it all up with these powerful quotes. This study demonstrated that H2 treatment is valuable for protection against radiation lung damage with no known toxicity. It's safe, easy to administer, and cost effective, and can reduce the rates of radiation-induced cancer formation. Therefore, an ideal radioprotectant should be effective with few side effects. H2 as a new class of radioprotective agent may give us hope for fulfilling that criteria. Number 9, H2 may play a beneficial role in improving the quality of life cancer patients. In recent years, improvement in the therapeutic effects of chemotherapy for cancer have been required because of the wide variety of side effects. These side effects decrease quality of life for patients and sometimes cause death. Ideally, an anti-cancer drug would not have any serious side effects and would have a selective effect, minimizing cytotoxicity to surrounding normal cells. Cancer patients receiving radiation often experience fatigue and impaired quality of life. Currently, there is no definitive therapy to improve quality of life in radiation patients. The symptoms and their quality of life can even be worsened by having to travel to the hospital every day. According to this study, after 6 weeks of consuming hydrogen water, the quality of life score during radiotherapy was significantly improved compared to the patients on placebo water. Drinking hydrogen water even improved the quality of life of radiation patients so that they did not need additional hospital visits. This study demonstrated that drinking hydrogen-rich water improved quality of life and decreased oxidative stress markers in patients receiving radiation therapy. According to this, the inhalation of 1% hydrogen gas or oral administration of hydrogen water may reduce organ toxicity induced by chemotherapy improve quality of life, and decelerate weight loss without affecting the effectiveness of chemotherapy. So, hydrogen also has the potential for improving the quality of life of chemo patients by mitigating the side effects. To sum it all up, daily consumption of hydrogen-rich water is a potentially novel therapeutic strategy for improving quality of life during cancer treatment. And finally, number 10. Hydrogen has the potential to increase the survival rate for cancer patients. Here we see that the administration of hydrogen improved the survival of mice with colon cancer taking chemotherapy. This study found that H2 treatment significantly increased survival rate 30 weeks after radiation. It was noted that hydrogen water increased the survival rate and body weight when exposed to abdominal irradiation. Likewise, this study says that hydrogen inhalation improved mortality and body weight loss caused by chemotherapy. Hydrogen is safe and easy and can potentially protect against radiation-induced death. Well, if you're still with us, congratulations on making it this far. I know it was a lot of information, but we think it's all equally important. Please remember that many of these studies were done on animals or cell cultures, so we still need many more human studies to be done. There are still many things we need to know, but what we do have is definitely promising. Before I wrap things up, let me leave you with a couple good nuggets. Drinking solubilized hydrogen on a daily basis may be beneficial and would be quite easy to administer without complicating or changing a patient's lifestyle. Hydrogen is expected to become a useful tool for clinical applications for anti-cancer therapy. And last, hydrogen water can be easily consumed in daily life and may be a promising antioxidant for the prevention and improved treatments of cancer. Well, that's it. Stay tuned in 2 weeks for video number 3 in the series about COPD. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna go drink some hydrogen. Don't forget to subscribe and support us on Patreon. Bye. That's your dose of H2. Well, you get the picture.